there.
Well, let's get this show on the road here. First, I want to thank everyone for coming and joining here. We'll take a few more minutes to kind of let people gather on here. But I wanted to spend some time here with you, Steve. Share a little bit of bluefishing here today. As you may know, Steve just launched his book. Is this your second book, first book?
It's my first book. We did a translated or transcribed interview once in the past, but yeah, this is the first ever book I've done.
Awesome. What's it feel like to actually publish a book?
It's actually there's a lot. That's a very funny question, and I'm going to give you the answer. It's terrifying, surprising, exciting, everything wrapped into one. Unlike, and I know I've got a few friends that hate me for this, but I didn't take the 5 years to write a manuscript and find a publisher or anything like that. I was very fortunate because of my circle that I went to New York for the weekend for a completely different related reason, met someone, and the following Thursday had a book deal. So for me, it was incredibly quick. It was literally one meeting, bang, yes, we're in. That was exciting. Then we started to write the book and finished the first 2 chapters, and that's where the fear set in, this very strange thing, because I suddenly realized I was writing a book about just how brilliant I was and all the ego and all the different kind of things that I did this and I did this, because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I was writing. And then, and this is an absolute truth, I woke up at about 2 o'clock in the morning panicking about Bobby. Now, I don't know anyone called Bobby, but I imagine this guy called Bobby walking through the airport and suddenly seeing my book, grabbing it, reading it on his flight home. And I thought to myself, do I really want him just to have a book on just how brilliant Steve Sims is and the things he's done? So I went back to the publishers and I said, I want to change it. I want this book to be this. And doing that with a publisher risked losing the contract. But, they were 100% behind it. So then we got to write the book that's there to basically get people to change, adapt, edit the way that they handle the communications, their relationships. And that's the book that we're happy. So it's been a roller coaster of emotions and experiences for it to come out. Now it's got picked up in, it's been translated into Mandarin and Korean. So it's now an international book.
Extraordinary.
It's, extraordinary, hysterical, unbelievable, all of those things.
That's what I love about you, man. You're always so amazingly, refreshingly surprised, genuinely, kind of honored that something actually is reaching people, that there are people that actually
startled.
Connect with, startled, that actually you have something to share that people are actually getting something out of.
Well, I don't want to trivialize it, but there's no intellect in this book. There's no startling rocket science revelation. If you're looking to go in here to find the missing secret or the missing link, it's not there. What's in there is stuff that you should be doing. We all know that if we don't eat burgers, we lose weight. We all know that if we stop drinking that red wine after our 5th glass, that we more than likely won't get a headache the following morning. We know all of these things, but the fact is we choose not to do them. Now, with my methodology, with my structure, I just do simple things a lot in a grand scale. And I've laid it out in a book very primitively to go, hey, you want to connect with this person? This is how I do it. You want to get access to this? This is how you want to build up a relationship. This is how you want to fire your vampires. It's very simple, actionable stuff that, quite simply, anybody out there is easily more intelligent than me can do, but a lot of people overthink the basics.
Mm-hmm. Interesting theme. Yeah, it's one of the things that clearly runs through your book, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later also. Just a few things. Maybe I should say a few things about about you. You can maybe add. I think people can check this out, but just give a little bit of a sense. And please contribute here. I'm kind of brief here, but in your own words, you are, really you're a concierge. You get things done that no one else can get done. You're also really here to, get people who are tired of standing still, tired of the status quo, who want to do something incredible, or want to do incredible, even something with their lives. And you've written also your book recently, and you spend time with people to help cultivate in them this ability to make seemingly out of reach things happen for themselves, about mindset, belief and practice, leaning on skill, talent. And I love the part about the art of making things happen. The title there is really also something I connect with. That really Bluefish is about, making things happen. So less method, more mindset perhaps, and really about action, and relationships, connection with people, which is obviously something that's super meaningful and part of my life in a really big way. That's kind of in a nutshell. Is there anything that I missed that you'd like to share here?
No, you're accurate. It's called The Art of Making Things Happen, not sit on your ass and it will come to you. So I think that is
that the title, sit on your
yeah, that's the second book.
That's the part they took out.
I have noticed how so many people will try to plan or try to do a 200-page PowerPoint on something rather than just try one step of it. So I'm the actionable guy, even though 9 times out of 10 I fall over. But that one time I get up, that's the gold dust.
Awesome. Love that. So I just want to welcome a few people. We have Lango Raza here in Paris. We have Benjamin Tepro, I assume, is in New York City, or I think Steve knows. Kristen Noel, thanks for joining us. Adam Dunn, who helped us there. Benjamin, let's see what Benjamin says here. Love the book, Steve. Strongly recommend anyone who hasn't read it yet. That's cool. So yeah, let's just dive into a couple things. I mean, there's so many things I found fascinating about what you wrote about your path, and how you kind of stumbled upon it, and how what you do today, and how you actually went through a lot of the things that built who you are today, that built the business that you run today, came to you supernaturally. Like you were just following your passion, that you wanted to hang out with people that you loved spending time with, who, intrigued you, who brought you pleasure, and that you've really carried that through your whole career. It's even, at the end of the book here, Good Way Part, there's such a great phrase. You say, sure, I want clients, I want customers, but I want relationships more. So tell me a little bit about that, because I love that, like, long-term, I care about people, people-driven approach, which is not so common, even though a lot of people talk about that.
You make me sound more intelligent than I am. So for a start, thank you very much.
That's a good step.
When I started this industry, when I started this business, I was a doorman. And doorman, being on the door, shocking horror, surprise to everyone. We don't actually want to be in a fight. So you want to let the right people into the club that are there for the right reasons. So there's a filtering process. I also knew that I didn't want to be on the door for the rest of my life. I was going through a lot of transitions, trying to find something to do. So I invited people in that were wealthy, because in my mindset, if I invited wealthy people into my circle, then I would become wealthy. It was a real primitive kind of, like, you are the combination of the 5 people that you know. So that's what I did. I focused on getting the right people in. I also have trouble being diplomatic. I have trouble being reserved. If I like someone, I like someone. If I don't like someone, I'm not going to bother talking with them. And so I wanted to speak with people that I could connect with. And here's the thing. Right. You said to me at the beginning that my business was driven by passion. It wasn't in the early stages. In the early stages, it was driven by me not wanting to be on the door. So I had to get away from where I was to go to somewhere. I didn't know where that was, but I knew that it wasn't there. So I knew that for it to be somewhere, it had to be within people I liked. So it was a learning curve of get to hang around people that you resonate with. And here's the thing. When you resonate with someone, whether they're poor, rich, blue, green, tall, short, whatever, when you resonate with someone, there's zero effort that comes out of you. Zero. Because there's nothing forced. You haven't got to try to be someone you're not. You haven't got to laugh at that ridiculously crap jokes. You haven't got to do any of that. It's all natural. And when it's natural, you're left with nothing but pure energy and zero effort. That's a great fuel. So I wanted to make sure that whatever I did, didn't know what it was at the time, I wanted to make sure that the circle that I was with were people that created no effort for me, but were full energy in our relationships and how we resonated. So I picked the client, I picked the person before I picked the price tag, the checkbook, the title, the business card, anything else. I picked the person first.
Mm. And what about then in cases, I mean, just to kind of be a little bit devil's advocate here, but, you know, sometimes some of the greatest relationships we can have maybe start off on the wrong foot. The context is wrong. The people someone is with is wrong. You know, you're in a social setting, and then when you meet the person in a private setting, it's different. You know, they were in some state. I mean, because those kinds of things happen. I'm sure you've had encounters where maybe it started a little bit, you know, a different way. I mean, does that?
Many times. I've had relationships, and I forget the saying, but someone said before, this is a British saying, that you don't know your best friends until you have a fight with them. It's amazing that when everything's going perfect, you don't always get to see the full strength of the character. But when something goes to shit, when something goes wrong, then you actually get through to see the person. You see how they react to a situation. They see how they react to you in that situation. Now, we've all been in situations where something's not gone wrong. Financially, with a family, with a loved one. Hell, just even crashing your car and you need someone to help you, you know, and they've not been there. And you suddenly go, I thought you were my buddy. I thought you were my brother, you know, and you realize those things. And it's not until something goes wrong or is imperfect that you really get to see if that person. So I've had relationships where I've been kind of like, oh, I think I get on with this person. And I'm a great believer that my stomach is more intelligent than my head. Okay. You know, when you see something and you get those butterflies, you don't get butterflies in your head. So your head's looking at this shiny car, this beautiful manicured person that's sounding right. Everything's kind of clicking up here. But down here, there's butterflies going, something's not right. I trust that. Okay. So I don't care how good it looks in my eyeballs. If my stomach doesn't like it, I've learned to trust it and I walk away from it. And I've had relationships where I've gone, something's not right here, but my stomach kind of wants to resonate towards this person. What is it? And then what I've done is I've literally, and I've done this, I've walked away from conversations in a bar or in a club or in a party or in a setting, wherever it is. And something stuck in my mind. And being an entrepreneur, we always want to solve it. You know, we're like miniature Sherlocks. You know, we all want to kind of like get to the root of it and discover it. I've walked away and I've gone, and I'm locked and loaded. My stomach needs to make a decision. Is that person a yes or a no? Now, nothing else in the party is going to matter. I will make sure that when I see them away from that crowd, away from that person, away from the location, I'll go and revisit it. Hey, how you doing? How you getting on the party? Finding anyone? They may go, oh, yeah, I had a really tough conversation earlier. And I've had situations where I've spoken to people and they've gone, yeah, I was chatting with someone before I spoke to you, and they told us the contract went south, or I just found out my wife's sleeping with the gardener, or my gardener is my wife, whatever. And all of a sudden, you've been able to go, it wasn't right. You weren't getting the full person, and you can say to him, I thought something was off. You weren't in our conversation. I've also had conversations, and a friend taught me this, where there's zero resonance. And I know I'm not going to connect with this person. I know it for a fact. And I've turned around to him and I've gone, hey, we're in a great setting for everyone to meet great people. But I want to be fair with you. It's not going to be us. So go around, network with people, enjoy the night, but you're wasting all your energy here. And then I've said, Bobby's a nice guy. Based on the brief interaction we've had, go over and say Steve said hello. And I've sent them off because I'm not going to get on with them. There's not going to be a connection. They're trying too hard. They're not my right kind of person. Maybe I don't like their opinions or something. And I've got rid of them. And the funny thing is, if you can respect someone's time that much that you're going to cut it dead and go, hey, you're wasting your time here. Don't waste the night by wasting it with me. I've had people walk past me and I go, thanks, Steve. Good. I hope you had a good night. You can respect someone without liking them. And I've had situations like that.
That's brave. That's pretty courageous to actually bring that up. Very frontal in a way to actually bring that. That's a tough thing. You have to do that with a bit of delicacy and respect. And in a way that's, when that's done though well, that's really amazing. How powerful, how real, right? How true. I can think of so many occasions where, that could have been done. I mean, I'm sure anyone on here, does that resonate with people on here that you're at an evening or networking or in your company or somebody, wants to be closer friends with you and you sense that. And it's a hard thing to actually express to somebody that, I'm not really interested in this going any further, beyond the circle that we're kind of in. Yeah, that's pretty fascinating to see how you approach that. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are here with Steve Sims talking about bluefishing here. Steve is out there where all the fires are going on. You must be warmer than I am, but we're not gonna go there. We just send some good vibes to people, obviously, in California. So we have Tiffen Velten Innocent here. I think she's in Basque Country in France. We got Benjamin. We have Linan. I think Linan Saperstein is in Austin if she's not traveling. She says, hello, gentlemen. Farida Kadiri, hello, here in Paris. If you have any questions, people, for Steve, let us know. We have Emily Yan Gouffres, who's in Sri Lanka, I believe. Paisley Starfire in Austin also. Lovely artist. Love you, Paisley. So yeah, let's keep going here, Steve. So I love also your ability clearly to get really curious and understand what somebody wants and even dig even further into the why. There were some great stories in your book, Bluefishing, the art of making things happen, that, shows that you go way beyond like the initial request of people. Which I love because I do a lot of this in my relationships where it's almost like you want to over deliver and surprise and create kind of this, this sensation in the relationship that you do care. I think that's what kind of comes across when I feel that someone's gone out of their way for me. They've dig in a little bit deeper into that detail. And they find something out, or they share something, or they create some surprise for me. That's really pretty rare in daily life. And I know you do this as a modus operandi at Bluefish and with all your Bluefishers and your clients and surely in your own life. Why don't people use more creativity in life to connect with others? Why do people write text messages and SMSs and not send videos like you suggest in the book, or do things more personal? Obviously, takes a little bit more time. But the payoff, again, in sort of the long term, in the efficiency of the relationship, where you don't have to worry about all, things, because you've developed something so proactive, which you also do amazingly, Steve. All the stuff that you send to people, the special clippings and things to maintain the relationship. These little things, I think, make it also so that in your relationships, business and personal, you can go to that person tomorrow, the next day, without having really been in touch maybe, but you've been constantly sending them, letting them know you care about you, think about them. And it's like the ultimate shortcut, this sort of people hack. So how can people, first of all, why don't people use that more? Why don't people operate like that more in this world that we live in today? I would ask, and then, what can people actually do to do that more, and why should they do that more?
That's a massively long question.
Bottom line.
Yeah. Now, usually when you get a question like that, you have to break it down into different answers. As you were walking, well, we don't have to. And that's the funny thing here, because everything you asked in that multi-question statement and phrase can be answered with one single word. And here's the daft thing. People are, here's the key word, embarrassed. And they are so frightened of humiliation. And you can test this. You say to someone, what would you do today if you had all the money in the world? Okay? And they'll go, I'd buy a yacht. I would, the usual shit, I'd buy an island, I'd do this, I'd do this, But if you ask them, what would you do today if you couldn't be embarrassed? Now, that's a different one. A lot of people come to me, and the reason I'm able to look so great at developing these incredible things is because people come to me and they dilute what they want. They're not telling me the truth. People come to me and they go, I'd like to do this. Because if I ask you how tall you are, what's your social security number, when was the last time you had sex, how much money's in your bank account, there's lots of questions there that are sensitive, but they've all got an accurate answer. Your bank account's got a certain amount of money in it. Tomorrow it may be a little bit more, tomorrow maybe a little bit less, but it's a factual number. But you're embarrassed to actually tell me what it is, and you shouldn't tell me what it is. But you ask someone, what's in here? What's going to wake you up at 2 o'clock in the morning, stunned that you actually pulled this off, amazed that you were actually able to achieve doing something, or meeting someone, or playing the piano with Elton John, or walking at midnight through the academia at the feet of David. All of these things, wow, would they blow your mind? If you try to get to that hot button, people resist, because they're now revealing themselves. And get this, when you're 3 years old, you're not taught about the power of money. You're not taught about people, be careful of people's political views. You're not taught about don't bring up, religion and relationships. You talk about don't embarrass somebody else. Don't bully somebody else. Be careful what you say. You're taught all of these things, which confuse a young mind. And as you grow up, you're in the class and they say, kids, do you have any questions? And you ask a question once, you don't want to ask the question the second time. No way in the world you're going to ask the same question 3 times. Even if the person at the front of the room is not giving you an answer that you want to hear, you won't ask a 3rd time because you're embarrassed. And we're taught we don't want to be embarrassed. And I'll take it a step further. This was one of those bloody aha moments that pissed me off. I was in a mall, and we've all seen these on TV. I was in a mall, and there was a bunch of people in front of me, and there was a lady in front of me that she had lots of shopping bags. I don't know how she was carrying so many. I'm with my wife, and we're walking through the mall, and with these bags, she's on the phone, okay? And she's walking along, and she's stumbling. She wasn't exactly an athletic person. And then all of a sudden, she tripped, and fell down. Now, the thing that caught me was that she landed right on her elbow. I saw her do this. And you know, when you see someone bang themselves in the head or that thumb, you just go, ooh, you know it kind of hurts because you've felt that before, you know? And if you've ever hit your elbow, people know that it's not nice. I saw her go down. The bags went one way. The phone went another way. The first thing she did was look around like this to see who was filming it. That was it. She was embarrassed. She could have broken her elbow. She could have smashed everything in the bags. Her phone had gone whizzing down the bloody mall. But the only thing that popped into her mind in that split second was, did anyone see it? Was it being filmed? And as we picked her up, she said about, oh, I thought some may have been filming that. And I just thought that was the whole thing. You were bored about that? That was upsetting. That was scary.
Yeah. So getting embarrassed, we actually give that more priority than actually just, kind of taking care of ourselves and connecting with other people and just kind of getting on with life, really.
Yeah, just imagine, ask yourself that question. Sit in your room now and go, okay, what would I do today if I had all the money in the world? And no, hang on, what would I do if I didn't have embarrassment? And you look at all the people that got embarrassment, got humiliated. Probably one of the biggest rock stars in the planet now is Elon Musk. Now, you can Google Elon and you can Google Elon on NASA and see the amount of years that NASA ridiculed this man. And quite simply, while doing all that ridicule, Elon carried on. He didn't get embarrassed. He didn't focus on that embarrassment or that humiliation. Now, look who's his biggest client. So it's stupid just before it's genius. Focus on the embarrassment and get it out of yourself, get it out of your kids, and start living without embarrassment and humiliation. You'll be amazed at what you can achieve when you've not got that luggage on your back.
Beautiful, man. So let's see if we have any other questions or comments here. We have Paisley Starfire. I was the kid who embarrassed myself purposely to find the answer.
Good girl, Paisley.
Tiffen, we have Tiffen in France here. Steve, you make the impossible possible. I wonder, what is the next personal dream you are planning to realize? Wow.
All right. Well, here's the shock of the century for you, and I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I am one of the world's most boring people. I don't like to do anything. I don't have a car, and if you haven't noticed already, I have a collection of motorcycles. That's because I can't carry a coffee cup on my bike. I can't answer the phone on my bike. I can't give anyone a lift. I don't care about the radio. I like that solitude. So I am a guy that I live up here in the hills. I barbecue. We adopt loads of dogs. I don't do anything. So I live vicariously through my clients. And here's the funny thing. Because a client will come to me and go, hey, I want to do this, in Poland. I want to do this in Japan. I want to do this in London. Those are things to me that go, oh, I never thought of that. And then I end up doing them. And so I live vicariously through them. For me personally, I want to make sure that my family is safe. There's enough whiskey in the house and there's enough gas in the tank. That's as exciting as I am.
Sounds great. So one other thing I wanted to talk about is you talk a lot about the senses, actually, and how we've been kind of disconnecting from them in this digital world and the way we relate to each other, again, in the way that we reach out to each other. We're not stimulating people's really visual sense, their texture sense, and the others. And obviously I do experience that are sensorially kind of inspired and driven and seek to actually connect people by relying a lot more on the senses, again, joining what you said. So I thought it was really quite fascinating in the book where you talked a lot about how we've kind of lost a lot of our senses. We kind of dumbed them down, kind of dulled them, by being a little bit too send an email instead of actually going to see somebody, not really send a creative message to somebody that's maybe, handwritten or has a picture or, that's somewhat artistically driven. So I guess I'm just curious, why do you feel it's so important that we stimulate each other's senses, that we kind of live from that? What does that really bring to our relationships, our life, our business?
I don't think we've dulled them. I think we've ignored them, and there's a difference. The fact is that technology's going one way and human beings haven't. We still rely on touch, texture, smell, sight, hearing. We've got these senses, and there's all this technology around us which is going in different directions, but we fundamentally are exactly the same, okay? And all of these technologies, all of these ways, and I love it when they go, oh, a new way to communicate. No, it's a new way to shout a message, and hopefully someone's going to respond and shout a message back. Basically a walkie-talkie, okay? So what has concerned me is that we've become, and I've had people, I've gone, oh, did you reach out to them? Did you communicate with them? Yeah, I did. Okay, what did they say? Yeah, I never got anything back. How did you reach out to them? I sent them a tweet. How the hell can you get a decision out of someone by sending someone a tweet? That's not communicating. That is literally like putting your phone number on a toilet wall and hoping someone calls you. It's worked for me a couple of times. Yeah, I usually put Jason Gaynard's phone number up there or something. But so what I like to do is I like to focus on connecting. And we've spoke about this before. A relationship is when you connect with the person. And I'm on about you get a feel for the person. So if you're sending out an email, and here's the downside, everything you write, every piece of text, every piece of copy that you send someone, I want you to imagine that grandma's just died with them opening it. Or their wife has just been discovered as being unfaithful, or their business partner's just ripped off all their money. Now, here's the thing. You send an email or a text or a tweet or a PM or whatever it is, and you've got these people that are now receiving that, but they're now in a negative state of mind. Can they read your message in that negative state of mind? Now, the other thing is, that email has no face, has no visual, has no sound, has no texture. It's only got one sense. You're reading it. That's it. There's no other way around it. So you've got to try other ways of going. I often, you've already mentioned, I post things a lot because how many fingers did it take to delete a text or an email?
One. Yeah.
How many fingers did it take to open up a parcel or an envelope?
Takes almost all of them. I mean, you got to hold
Exactly. Here's the other thing. How many people are drinking their coffee while deleting their emails? Okay. So the bottom line of it is that when you send something to someone, the whole point is to engage them, to get as many of those senses working. Now, if you don't want to post everyone, get hold of this thing. It's called a smartphone, okay? Record a little message on it and then text it to someone. And then all of a sudden you've got this message going, hey, David, I'm in the garage. I know we're going to talk in a few days, but I was just thinking about that problem we have. I've got a solution for you. Really excited to chat with you soon. Bye. Bing. Send it to them. Now they've got the scenery that you're in. They got the visual. They haven't got touch. They haven't got smell, but they've got a sense of your passion, your enthusiasm. And here's the most important thing, your tone. And if I say to you, David, 7 o'clock tonight, Centre Car Park, be there. If I say that, it's very monotone. You're like, what the hell's that? The only thing that makes a difference, if I go, David, 7 o'clock tonight, car park, be there, that's just changing the tone. It takes on a whole new meaning. Now you're like, wow, he's energetic about this. What are we doing? Are we going somewhere exciting? It's the tone that drives the communication. It's the tone that gets the passion across. And you for shit can't get tone in an email.
Love it. Couldn't agree more. Love that. Love that. We've got some more questions here, Steve. How are we doing on time for you, man?
I think we've got about 10 minutes.
About 10 minutes. Okay. So we've got Farida here in Paris. Question for Steve. What is the one thing to master to make things happen? Woo! Good luck there.
People often come to me. The reason I look so fantastic, and it's not my startling good looks, is because people always make things impossible, make things hard. The amount of people that come to me and they go, oh, I'd really like to get into this party. And then they will spend the next 2 minutes telling me why they can't do it rather than why they should. So they will say to me, I really want to go to that party. Oh, but it's for A-list only and it's really expensive and I can't do this. And I just sit there. I just sit there listening to them, elevating the problem and quite simply like a kite, just letting the string out further and further and pushing the goalpost further away from them. And I am stunned why people do that. So when someone comes up to me and they go, I want to do this, the next few minutes, I've switched off. All I can hear is whack, 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 because I know they're just killing the concept of them actually doing it. So I'll turn around and go, okay, I'll make a note of it. And then what I will do is I will do something ridiculous. I will phone them, not the client, the venue. I will meet them. I will do something, but I won't acknowledge the inability for it to happen. It's only impossible until someone does it. So I'm not going to validate the fear that this can't be achieved. I don't see it. I'm ignorant to that fact. There's a brick wall. I need to be on the other side of the wall. I've got 3 choices: under, over, or through. There's no other possible scenario while everyone else is stood there going, oh, I want to go through that wall, but I can't because it's big, it's blue, it's built there. They come up with all these excuses. So I urge everyone to just action. And the whole saying about paralysis by analysis, stop thinking. Your brain quite often is not your friend. So just go forward.
Love it. And just to kind of follow up on there, you know, a lot of people talk about receiving, which is almost trusting, believing. I don't think that what you say is against that. It sounds like it's almost supporting that you are believing that you can actually make this happen. Doesn't mean you're sitting there. So you have the tone there, you have the mindset that's set there, and you're kind of really riding on that. And you're opening to receive this kind of thing, like you said in your early life, you know, why not me? You know, why can't I have that jewelry or that watch, the stuff you were looking at in the window with your mom, you know?
I am stunned why, as I said, I will repeat it because it's powerful, why so many people can give so much energy into telling you why it can't be done rather than focusing that energy on the one reason that it should.
Love it. So we have Paisley Starfire in Austin. What kind of music do you listen to, coming from an extraordinary singer-songwriter lady, Paisley Starfire?
I got to admit, isn't that the coolest name in the world? She's the next James Bond villain. You know it. That's an exceptional name, Paisley. I may steal that, build it into a character or something. The music, actually, I hate limits. I hate ceilings. So growing up as a biker, all of my music was heavy metal and rock and stuff like that. But I didn't want that to be the only music I'd listen to. So I remember always trying to listen to other stuff, R&B, country. And you'll listen to some music and you go, I really don't like that. But music to me is one of those things that do transport us and it engulfs us. And I like to try so many different musical styles. You know, I've worked with Elton John. I've worked with Guns N' Roses. I've worked with Andrea Bocelli, and it's just incredible to hear these different musicians. I'm very lucky to have actually even played me, and I have no musical talent, but I've sung or I've played with these fine people badly, and there's no recordings. But I do like to challenge my musical. And here, Paisley, I'll give you one more thing. I went out and I bought an audio system for my house, and every time I've moved, I've always maintained good high-end audio. I'll spend 90% of my budget on the audio and 10% on a 4-year-old TV. I don't care about what I watch, but I really value what I listen to.
Yeah, I've got to connect you with Paisley, Steve, so you can hear. She's come to a lot of my experiences in the States and contributed and sang. Right. And she's, I mean, really, she's at the top of the 80 people I've had come to my experiences. Paisley is just an extraordinary human. Love you, Paisley. Right. So we've got Jay Rott here. Hey, everyone. We've got Brittany Hammond, who's just joined. Hey, David. She's in Paris. Jay is somewhere in Europe. We've got Benjamin Tepper, loving the interview. David, great question. Steve, always killing it. Great vibes. Keep it up, guys. Okay, great. So we're kind of almost running down here. I don't want to take too much more of your time here, Steve. What else do you want to share with us that is for you really, the main message that you're sharing with people, the people that you really wrote your book for, which I encourage everyone to pick up and read. This is an activating book in a way that's full of a lot of panache, and it's like Steve on paper. It's pretty amazing. He gets ugly, he gets wild. He just it's so at times to the point, and yet at the same time very full of art and poetry and a kind of approach that's it's a lot more, you're getting into the action than based on some thinking or science kind of thing, which I think is really amazing. So what else do you want to share about your message and to people here?
My message, if it hasn't come across yet, is stop using your brain and start using your feelings, your senses, and your gut. Your brain's the one that sits there and go, oh no, you can't do that. And your gut is the one that says, right, let's do it. I want people to realize or to stop overcomplicating, to stop hanging their hat on technology as a result. I have so many people going, oh yeah, I want to do this. I'm going to buy this computer program because that's going to make it easier. Programs make what you're doing already easier. They're not going to give you the answer. So get yourself in the right mindset, and that's when these technologies can really utilize all of your ability. So there's no rocket science in this book, but it is packed of fundamental, easy to action things. And coming from me, everyone needs to know that I class myself as an educated man, but school had nothing to do with it. Everything I've learned through life, falling over, getting kicked in the head, going broke, going sued, all of those elements to get where I am now is in this book so that you can easily take what I've learned and use it. Don't buy it if you just think you're just going to read it and it's going to make you smarter. It's called The Art of Making Things Happen. The art's in there, but the rest is down to you.
So just quickly in 1 minute, because you want to keep this simple for us, right? So how do we do what you're suggesting, to listen more to your gut, to focus more on your senses, to stay focused on the people, to aim for long-term relationships, to kind of know who's in your circle, listen to your gut? What's kind of your one hack or one thing or a few things that people could do to kind of get better at actually trusting their gut? I mean, a lot of people are not really, because they're so used to a different way of functioning in the world.
Yeah.
How do you transition a little bit more to balance a little more there?
So it's like everything. It's like losing weight. It's like getting fitter. It's like running a marathon. You have to practice and you have to train. And what will happen is once you do it 3 or 4 times, it becomes a habit. You want to build those habits into your life. I actually came up many, many years ago with something that I call very intelligently the chug test. And this is one of those things that is primitive, therefore is powerful. Here you are. I'm giving it to you now, folks.
The gold.
Oh, yeah, this is it. Solid. So you're walking up the high street. On the opposite side of the high street, on the other side of the road, coming the opposite direction, is your accountant, your friends, your work colleagues, your clients, anyone. And you need to envisage this with everyone in your life walking down that road. You're faced with 2 instant reactions. Do you A, quickly look in the window and pretend as though you're really interested in those wedding cakes and wait for the reflection to see them pass you by and then carry on walking? Or do you B, run across the road, jump in front of them and go, David, how you doing? Let's go chug a whiskey or have a beer or grab a coffee. Those two choices will tell you whether or not those people need to be in your circle. If you seriously have a client, a girlfriend, someone walking on the other side of the road, and your reaction is to look in the window, get them out of your life because they're just sapping your energy. If you're not compelled to run across the road and engage them, you want them out of your life. You want them gone. Kill it, get it out, Band-Aid, rip, thank you, good night, and fill it with positive people. Positive energy, as I said at the beginning of this interview, takes no effort, but is incredibly powerful.
Awesome, Steve. I'm loving this. I wish we could go on forever, man. So, few things to end it. First, tell us your book. Tell us just a little bit about the book real quick, where people can find the book, where people can maybe find you, sort of the best places, and we'll put the links down on the feed here, obviously.
All right, well, we got stevedsims.com with 1M is the website. You can go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, anywhere, and find the book. It's called Bluefishing, The Art of Making Things Happen by moi, Steve Sims.
Okay, cool. Yeah, check out the book, everyone. So what can we do to angle to get a free book to give away here in the last minute here, Steve? Signed by you.
Signed by me.
This is the Bluefishing technique here. Steve, what would it take?
Yeah, no, I like the angle. I like the angle. So, all right, so we need to think of, there needs to be a competition. I'm in for it, but there needs to be a competition. And the competition should be someone that does something that they're embarrassed and that they conquered. And then you're the mediator on this. So there should be some kind of like, put something down that you've never achieved. And then we want to hear that you've achieved it. And then the one that gets the most votes for trying. And again, this doesn't have to be expensive. It can just be really easy and really primitive. But whoever people thinks did the best won, bearing in mind, by you conquering your embarrassment, you've already won, okay? But the one that does the best thing, get a vote, you tell me who it is, and we'll send a signed book.
Okay, we'll set something up for like that for everyone. So everyone, thanks for coming. Give up some love here, some hearts and stuff for for Steve. And Steve, thanks for getting up so early, man, and just hanging out here with me. It's a lot of fun. It's gone kind of beyond the book, which I was really hoping for. But it's really an interesting read. Like you said, I think a lot of us are really, in that space of trying to lower down, to simplify, and get more to gut and instincts. And what you're sharing is super insightful for that, and shows that even someone as ugly as you can do amazing things in this world and love their life.
Cheers, pal. I wish you all the best.
All right. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, everyone. Ciao, ciao.